So, how in the world do you write laws for technology that changes faster than you can even book a meeting about it? I mean, think about things like AI or neurotech. These are fields that practically exploded out of nowhere. Trying to regulate them is, without a doubt, one of the biggest challenges our society's facing right now. It's forcing us to basically rethink the entire rulebook on how we govern ourselves.
There's this brilliant metaphor that just perfectly sets the stage here. It says lawmakers are like captains of a ship, navigating through a really dense fog. You know you have to keep moving forward, but you literally cannot see what's right in front of you. And this isn't just some abstract thought, it's the day-to-day reality for anyone trying to make sensible rules for our super high-tech world.
And that really gets us to the heart of what we're digging into today. When the future is this murky, this uncertain, how do you steer that ship of society without completely crashing it? How do you create rules that work today but won't become totally obsolete or maybe even dangerous tomorrow?
Okay, so let's really break down this dilemma. The ship, that's us, our society. And that thick, thick fog, well, that's all the uncertainty being churned out by this relentless pace of technological change. We're moving faster than ever, but we're basically flying blind, not sure what huge obstacles are lurking just ahead. Now, this captain is facing two immediate and very different dangers. If you veer too far one way, you smash right into the reef of underregulation. That's just chaos. That's where new tech runs totally wild, causing all kinds of harm we never saw coming. But if you steer too carefully the other way, you run aground on the coast of overregulation. You end up strangling innovation, falling behind other countries, and missing out on some absolutely incredible benefits. It's a really treacherous path to walk.
So you might be thinking, okay, but why is the fog so thick now? Haven't we always had new technology to deal with? And that's a great question. The thing is, the world itself has fundamentally changed. The old maps we used to navigate, our old ways of thinking about law and society, they just don't work anymore. We've apparently entered a new era, what the source material calls the technoceno, or the technocene. This isn't just about humans anymore. It's about humans and our technology evolving together, intertwined in this one massive, incredibly complex global system. And because of that, something that happens in one corner of the world can have totally unpredictable ripple effects everywhere else. This is the absolute key shift in thinking we have to make. For centuries, we kind of saw the world as a predictable machine, you know? You pull a lever here and a specific gear turns over there. But that's just not our reality anymore. Our world acts much more like a living organism. It's constantly adapting, evolving, and frankly, surprising us. And this example just nails the difference. Think about regulating drunk driving. It's, well, relatively simple. The number of variables is pretty small, we all basically agree it's wrong, and the core problem doesn't change much from year to year. Now try to compare that to AI ethics. You're talking about countless interactions all across society, the morality is a huge, messy debate, and the tech itself is changing by the month. It's a completely different beast. Which, of course, brings us right back to the central problem for lawmakers. How can you possibly create good, effective, long-lasting laws for something like AI when you can't even be sure what it's going to look like in 3 years, let alone 10, and you don't fully get how it works today? Okay, so this is where we need a totally new kind of tool. If we're sailing in a fog that thick, we can't just rely on our eyes. We need to build a kind of legislative sonar, a whole new framework for making decisions that helps us navigate even when we can't see the path ahead. And to build this sonar, we first need to get our heads around 3 different states of being. A system can be fragile, right? Like a glass cup. A little shock comes along and it shatters. Then, a system can be robust. Think of a stone pyramid. It can take a punch, it resists shocks, it endures. But then, there's the third and most fascinating state, antifragile. This is like life itself. It's a system that doesn't just resist shocks and stressors, it actually gets stronger from them. The truth is, most of our current legal systems are fragile. They were built for a much more predictable world, and they can easily break under the strain of rapid technological change. So the absolute minimum goal, our first step, has to be upgrading our laws from fragile to robust, just so they can withstand the constant shocks of this technocene without shattering into a million pieces. So how do we do that? Well, there's a framework called robust decision-making. And what it means is, instead of trying to predict the one single future, you plan for many possible futures. You actually stress test your laws against all sorts of extreme, worst-case scenarios. And you build in ways to adapt your strategy as you go,
as the fog starts to clear a little bit. But look, being robust is really just about survival. The ultimate upgrade, the real goal for navigating this complex world, is to become anti-fragile, to actually benefit from all this uncertainty and change. And here's the crucial difference. A robust system, like that pyramid, takes a hit and stays standing. It survives. But an anti-fragile system, it takes a hit, it learns from it, and it becomes a better fighter because of it. It doesn't just put up with disorder, it literally feeds on it to grow stronger. So, what does an anti-fragile law even look like? Well, for one, it's judged by its actual results in the real world, not just the good intentions behind it. It also makes sure that freedom is protected at every single level, for the individual, for the community, for the whole nation. And maybe most important of all, it's designed from the ground up to learn from its own mistakes, creating these feedback loops that make the whole system smarter over time.
Okay, let's bring this whole conversation back to artificial intelligence. AI is the perfect example of this entire challenge. You could say it's the foggiest, most dangerous sea we're currently trying to navigate, but it might also be the key to building the very sonar we need to get through it. And this is really the final, critical piece of the puzzle. We spend so much time and energy worrying about how to control AI, seeing it only as a problem that needs to be solved, a thing that needs to be regulated. But that's only looking at half the picture. The exact same technology that's creating all these complex challenges can also be used to help us manage that complexity. We can actually use AI to build smarter, more adaptive, and ultimately anti-fragile regulatory systems. It can become a core part of our sonar.
And this isn't just a theory, we can make this concrete. Take environmental law. Instead of a fixed, static law, imagine using AI to create a live index of ecosystem integrity. It could be constantly pulling in real-time data from satellites, from sensors, from everyday citizen scientists, and using it to generate a live health score for an ecosystem. This creates that adaptive feedback loop we've been talking about. The law can now respond to what's actually happening, getting stronger and smarter with every new piece of information. That is the very definition of anti-fragile.
So that leaves us with this final, really powerful question. If we can build this kind of legislative sonar to protect the environment, what about for our financial systems, for public health? What about for the future of democracy itself? The principle is exactly the same. When you find yourself in a world full of fog, don't just stand there praying for a clear day. Start building a better sonar.